people just think football is just kicking the ball. It's not. And because I had that appreciation and I knew how much it takes to actually get there.
StoppagetimeTV back again, and we're giving you another episode of Supporter Section. Today I have with me Mayowa. How you doing?
Good, man. How are you, bro?
I'm good, man. If you don't know who he is, he takes part on a very interesting, I would say, podcast called Stoppage Time TV. And you know, these guys got opinions, man. Got opinions on the game. They got a good following. And I think in 2021, you know, the podcast going to take off.
God willing, man. God willing.
I think it's a good podcast, man.
Nah, appreciate it.
Give insight from like a fan's perspective, but you keep it real, you keep it honest, and you have knowledge about the game. It's not like as a footballer you would see it and you'd be like, oh, these are some guys just trying to get clickbait to, you know, get views.
Yeah.
You're talking like from the real, innit? So it's good content at the end of the day, innit?
Appreciate that a lot, bro.
What shaped your personality, and what would you say was your passion for kind of getting behind the mic and speaking about football?
Here at 3258, we're proud to present you with the best football-specific content. We work with many companies and many ballers to give you, the viewers, the best content possible. You, the viewer, we're always looking to help you improve your skill set. In order for you to improve your skill set and for us to keep making these videos, please click the link down below and buy some equipment. The equipment helps us run this channel, and also you subscribing to the channel helps us producing more of these videos to help you with your skill set and your knowledge of the game. Thank you for supporting 3258.
Oh, good question. So for me, I've always played football. So from young, played football. Was fortunate enough to kind of play. Was in academy for a little bit. So between the ages of up until about 16, between 13 and 16, I was at Luton. Yeah. So I've kicked ball, but I wouldn't say like I was like sick or anything. I was more of those guys that my leadership and ability to do the simple things was what enabled me to look like, especially at that age, like a good footballer. Anyway, like I wasn't this technically gifted superstar and think. I just could lead, especially at that age. It was clear that I could lead people. Gave good instructions. I was a good captain, and yeah, I did the basics. So played football, and then kind of always had opinions and always liked discussing football. So I was always one of those people that I'm not just watching the game, I'm kind of having conversations about it, like, oh, why did this person do that? Or sort of, that was sick, but imagine this and that. So I've always had conversations around football, always been inquisitive. And at the same time as playing football, I probably started coaching when I was in like year 7. I was coaching younger schools. And then when I got to year 11, I was like coaching our year 7 team and everything. And like, these are like academy kids. So I've always been involved in football in different aspects, volunteering, stuff like that. So as I got older, and it was clear that I didn't have that technical proficiency to kind of make it at a level in the game, I always kind of knew that I had to read the game, understand the game. And that was kind of a conversation with friends. And I realized that there was this kind of unique gap where, especially in the UK, you have analysis, which is kind of like your match of the days and all this type of stuff where it's breaking down the game intricately. But there's no stuff just about really conversation on what normal everyday people think. So that's how I started trying to navigate a route through there via podcasting, via writing, essentially, which was sort of having real conversations about just football and what we honestly feel, and not sort of everything like XG or kind of like, it was just like real conversation. So that's kind of how it got to here, really, with kind of discussing and conversating about football.
Sick man. Like normally people in your position who play football, they normally have this like, I wouldn't even say delusion. They have this, like, will to succeed and always become a footballer, and they won't let go to that,
Yeah.
You kind of had the other, perspective on that. You said, I know that I'm not the best, and I know that it's a good chance that I might not make it. So, like, did you always kind of brace yourself for that and always prepare for that? Like you said, like, you always had a passion for football, but wanted to use it in a different way.
Yeah, for me, growing up, I was fortunate to grow up in South London, which is kind of like, if you look at it, it's a hub for talent. There's so many kids that, because of all the clubs near you, that end up playing for academies. So, like, realistically, at that age, playing for academy was nothing, because anyone that was half decent was able to get to the academy because there was so much talent. But even if we look at Premier League numbers, 0.001 players from grassroots become Premier League footballers. So that tells you that there is a funnel. Loads of people that even play at kind of top level academies funnel into different areas. And I kind of knew that from young. And I also knew that looking at people, I could see people and say, like, you know what, there's a technical understanding, like a gift that's there. I'm not saying that I wasn't like, I had the work rate and everything, but I understand to make it as a professional, there's a certain level of skill set that you must require. And if even if it's not the skill set, you have to physically be a gladiator. And that's why when I try to speak about things about football, I always have that appreciation in my mind. People always look at football and think, oh, yeah, but that guy's dead. And it's like, nah. So in order to be that guy's level, you don't understand how much your body has to take to actually make it to that level. Football is not just running around for 90 minutes. So I've always had that appreciation. And from a coaching aspect as well, I've always understood that. There's actually a really good clip online. It's I think it's Norwich City, and they break down kind of like the day of a footballer. And it's stuff that people don't understand. So you're coming in, you're getting your assessment after your last match to see how your injuries are and whatnot. You're getting your vitamins and everything to make sure that you're in the right place. You're doing your rehab, you're doing your testing. And that's before you even have breakfast and then start your first training session. And people just think football is just kicking the ball. It's not. And because I had that appreciation and I knew how much it takes to actually get there, talk less of actually then building on upon that, I kind of knew that in my situation with kind of injuries I had, my skill level, I knew that, you know what, if I ever managed to break through somewhat decent, it's just purely because of hard work and determination. It's not because of my skill set, because you can develop your skill set, don't get me wrong. But there's a difference between Messi, God-given talent, and someone in like League Two. There's a difference there. Like, that League Two player can work as hard as they can, but if that person with talent is working hard as well, you're always going to see the difference. So, yeah, I don't have any regrets in that way, because football for me wasn't just about the playing; it was about teaching me the life lessons and everything. But I'm grateful that I went through those paths and everything, because it definitely gave me an appreciation of the game, which I feel like I can reason and understand, and therefore communicate a bit more.
Yeah, well, you just said a few things that I just mentally took a note of. The first thing was, if you work as hard as you want, people got to know that you can't be Messi, because there's only one Messi. There's
Yeah,
people who've worked harder than Messi in their career and they haven't become Messi.
yeah,
Ronaldo, similar situation, but people forget he still had talent, you know?
yep,
Like, he still had way more talent than the average guy his age. He just didn't have the talent to become a Messi, if that makes sense, if he
yeah,
didn't work hard enough. There's a famous quote from Mario Götze's brother, and he actually plays football in like third division or something, second division in Germany.
yeah,
And he said, like, I worked harder than my brother, but my brother was just naturally more gifted than me. I can't control that,
yeah,
The second thing I wanted to touch on is the fact that, there's a lot of people in the media, and I wouldn't even call it media. It's a new age media. What would you call it, actually? Like, things that you do.
So I call it. So I call myself a sports conversationist, but I would say some people call them blogs. I just call it yeah, I would call it conversationist, because it's people just having a conversation. To be fair, it depends though, because you've got people that I'll call it the new fandom. Like, you've got people that essentially you look at someone and they represent that club, and it's like anything that they say is about their club.
Yeah.
I'm more just discuss football in general. Like, yeah, I support Chelsea, but you wouldn't look at me and be like, oh, it's a Chelsea representative. So I'd say there's new fandom, which is people that are dedicated to like one cause, and then you've got people that just conversate about football in general.
Yeah, so touching on that, you have that football background, so you can give a good explanation of why something happened. There's a lot of people I watch from content-wise, and they can't really give that explanation. They just be like, oh, that guy's dead. But
yeah,
really and truly, he's not dead, is he? Like, he's playing in the Premier League. That's the thing that I think might distance fans and players in that regard, because they might not just have that respect for the fans, because they don't have that respect for and that appreciation for them, at the highest level, for example. What would you say is a thing that might distance fans and supporters from what you're doing, say, for example?
Oh, so in terms, okay,
and players, sorry. Yeah.
I think what can distance, if we're being really honest, I think what can distance players, but sometimes might bring them closer, is the honesty. So, for instance, me and my co-host are very brutally honest, but it's because that's how we reason in terms of our culture and how we've grown up. It's always been about like, that's how people speak. In some cases, you can have footballers who, bear in mind, like footballers tend to live in like a bubble. Like it's training ground, you're around the same people, you have a similar set. So if someone's being brutally honest about something and in your head you're looking like, but you haven't been in these shoes before, that can make you feel away.
Mm-hmm.
Because let's be real, I've never been a professional footballer. I've been in an academy setup, but I've never been in a professional setup. I may have coached in one, I may have been inside one, but I don't know how it feels to walk out on the football pitch as a professional footballer. I may have played in the stadium before, but I've never been a professional footballer. Therefore, to a certain extent, if a professional felt somewhere about what I was saying, I could understand, because in their head, it's you've never walked in these shoes. You may be able to reason because of some of the things you know, but you've never walked these shoes. And that's fair, because at the end of the day, that is the reality, that is the truth. At the same time, that could bring players closer to fans, because they may look at it and be like, okay, you know what, you're trying to reason with the understanding you have, and you don't know it all because you haven't walked these shoes. But maybe by discussing it with you, I can bring some light to that. And that's why I always find it refreshing when you've got athletes, footballers, whoever it is, that engage with their fans, because what that shows me is they're trying to give them an understanding. A great example for me is you see it a lot with teams that have just been relegated or relegation battles. They understand that they are going through a lot of pressure and they're the ones on the pitch. And for them, their livelihoods could change, be relegated. But at the same time, that understanding that they were once fans of football and how the fans are affected by that is really pure. And like you see in press conferences where it's like, we're trying for the fans, we need to make sure that we turn these results around. That comes from being in the same shoes as those fans once. But sometimes those fans don't understand the footballer side, which is not only are these guys about to go down, these guys' livelihoods could change. They could go from Premier League to Championship, wage changes, future changes, perception of them changes. That's the side that the fan doesn't totally understand because they've not been in it. So yeah, I do appreciate when sports people get engaged with fans, and I think some things that can bring them together can also separate them a lot of the times. That's just the irony of how it is, I guess.
Yeah, man. I think something that's not really been done yet. There's a handful of people who've kind of, chimed in a little bit and kind of dibbled and dabbled with it. Troy Deeney, I would say he's one, but then again, you don't have a platform where you can constantly be, you know what I mean? And obviously he is very hot and cold with his opinions from certain people, right? But he's honest, and that's something that I feel like from my opinion, I feel like fans, they see footballers and they feel like they're not honest enough and they're not themselves enough. Like I watch NBA and I admire these guys. They just say whatever they want. That's what I envision and I want football to be like. Because if football's like that, then you eradicate all the bad press that comes with it, Because how can you give bad press if every single footballer is just saying
being
what they want? Being themselves and being real. Like, you can't give bad press. What someone gives bad press, they'll be like, what? So what? Type of thing. So That's how I see it, innit? What about you in terms of that regard?
No, that's what with stoppage time, with everything I try and do, with like my role at Versus, with everything I try and do content wise, one of the key things I try to do is we're in an age where football fandom is changing. So football fandom used to be in the UK anyway. You go to the games, you're in the stands, you're chanting. Now it's kind of online. Your football team might be mixed with your favorite artist. Times are changing, and it's coming a lot closer to what's happening in America. The big issue within the UK and in America is that societal norms are very different. In America, you're praised for speaking your mind. Here, if you speak your mind, you might be seen out of tone. Um, People here as well, criticism is something that culturally is hard for a lot of people to take. And so, and there's just always like a witch hunt mentality within the UK. So for instance, in the NBA, someone can come out and just be real, like just be like, listen, yeah, we played whack, this and that, but we're going to come back better. If that you say that in the UK, oh my gosh, the newspapers have a field day with it because it's like, yeah, he said that his teammates are whack. This is bad. This is this. This is that. That the element of being real within the UK is very difficult. And you've had some footballers that have tried it, like Troy Deeney, where he comes out and he says, "Oh, we lacked cojones," or Arsenal this, Arsenal that. But those people then get demonized in the future for being outspoken. So what is the incentive of actually doing it?
Mm-hmm.
Now, Troy Deeney is someone that I've been fortunate to have some through kind of my line of work and stuff. I've had some interactions with before, and he said some amazing stuff. So he's always said, if there was more people that looked like me and were representative of where my background and everything within these rooms, within these media rooms, I could probably be myself more because I can have that conversation. So that's a major part of it as well. If you look at the NBA, look at the stars, look at the people who do the kind of the punditry and the commentary and everything. It's very relatable. You can have those conversations because it's like mandem. Here, you finish playing with your brothers, you come off the pitch, and then the person you speak to just doesn't understand your upbringing, what you've been through, and just sees it as football. So it's like Paul Pogba will never be understood by the English press. Yeah, his form may not help it, but he'll never be understood because it's just two different backgrounds and everything entirely. And I feel like if that can change, if more people can get spaces within the media, if, like you said, we can continue to grow platforms away from mainstream media where people say, you know what, I can speak to people that understand me, and that becomes a thing, everything suddenly changes. It suddenly changes because the people you speak to understand what you're saying, therefore they won't put out bad words about you. They won't backstab you for being real. I think that's where the change comes in.
Yeah, man, that's real talk, man. That's real talk. That's good ideas as well, you know, to get the culture changing and get something that, you know, we can call our own. We can say that, you know, we create that, our culture, and like, you know, be ourselves. I hate feeling like in an interview, well, me personally, I don't feel like that anymore. I am myself, you know, but I hate feeling like, oh, you know, I can't say this, I can't say that, and thinking too much, you know, when you're doing it. We're doing it now. I'm not thinking when I'm speaking, speaking from, you know, my sleeve type of thing. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
that's how I think it should be going forward in the future for athletes.
For more content like this, like, share, and subscribe.